What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again. You already know what time it is. It is just another Victory Monday, right after a Victory Sunday. You already know what it is. We're gonna get into it, man. So, one thing's for certain, and three things for sure. When you see me in front of your TV, number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. Number three, we want to make sure we keep your Lions news pragmatic, and that is perhaps the most important number of them all. Number three. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, how, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked, and I'll let you know right now. Number one, you got to smash that like button. Number two, you got to subscribe. Number three, you got to share with your peoples. It doesn't matter which order you've done it in. I just gave you three numbers. But in what order, whichever order you've done it in, you've then indeed kept your Lions news pragmatic. And because sharing is caring, once you've shared this stream with your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your uncles, your cousins, your sisters, your fathers, your brothers, your mothers, your sisters, you name it, you name it, you have indeed cared about those people. You already know what we're getting into today. It is just another Victory Monday. What up, though, everybody in the chat? Um, listen. Listen, man. At this point, anybody could be president of the United States. Okay, anyway. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. All right. We got some things that we got to get into today. Am I apologetic? No apologies given. Am I sad? No apologies given. Do I feel bad? No apologies given. We got the dub. Okay? But we have to be able to separate what went down and what didn't go down. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to present to you the case of the New York Giants. The New York Giants currently sit at 2-10. Ladies and gentlemen of the chat, please identify to me which unit of the New York Giants sucks. Looking at Jameis Winston, calling him a backup quarterback. Jameis Winston is a starting caliber quarterback. Only problem with Jameis Winston is that you can't trust him over a certain number of games. If you get him in the sweet spot of games, 3, 4, maybe even 5, he'll put up phenomenal numbers. Jameis Winston has always, like, people are mad. People are mad because Jameis Winston gave you 400 yesterday. This is normal for Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston put up 500 yards in a loss. Jameis Winston is going to put up yards. And he's managed to do it everywhere he's gone. Even Cleveland. That's why I said he put up 500 yards in a loss. So am I going to get mad because we gave up the yards to Jameis Winston? No, I'm mad we gave up the yards. And we'll talk about that later. Let's see. Zach J says he only subscribes to channels that have Davenport. Well, remove your subscription, my friend. Because we ain't got no Davenport around here. Are the New York Giants running backs trash? Is their offensive line trash? Is their defensive line trash? Hell to the no. Is their secondary trash? Are their linebackers trash? No. So I don't think there's a unit on the New York Giants that you can call decidedly and unabashedly trash. Without dispute, trash. I don't think there's a unit in which you can do that. Okay? Hold on, I've got to You know how you get like a like a what do they call it? Like a mental itch? Like you feel like because you went in the bushes, you feel like something's on you. Yeah, I got one of those happening right now. um, so I don't think that there's anybody that you can call trash. Those guys drive Mercedes too. They get paid too, and they've beaten the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, which is why I say you can't poo-poo anybody in your division. We lost to the mother effing Vikings, which JJ McCarthy is poop. That's what pisses me off, right? I can't believe we lost to JJ McCarthy because he's poop. He had 150 yards of total offense as a quarterback, 150 total yards in 4 quarters of play. He played the entire game. He didn't get injured. He started the game. He didn't go out. 150 yards of total offense was what JJ McCarthy gave you. Okay? That's it. Hold on. All right. This is why you flip out about the Vikings, also because they're in your division. So I'm not really going to be upset because the Detroit Lions lost. Well, sorry, beat a team which had 2 wins. Remember when the Detroit Lions went 0-16? There were a lot of games that they were in. Some they even led. Remember, 4 out of the now 10 losses. No, 5 now. 5 out of the 10 losses that the New York Giants have, they had double-digit leads in the 4th quarter. So remember how in 2021 where we were learning how to win? The New York Giants are in the same situation. Okay? The New York Giants are in the same situation where they are learning to win. So not gonna apologize. I'm gonna get to your comments, and then we're gonna talk about the things that are actually the problem. Because there are problems. You're not comfortable with beating a team that has a bad record in overtime, and you feel like you should have played better. I feel like the team should have played better, not just because of the record, but because the team should have played better. And I think those two things are very different. Okay. So let's go ahead and get to your comments. And yeah, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Shout out. What up, though? Uh Robert Stevens says, peace up. The Lions cancel Monday, Sabbath, have meetings and other activities for Thursday's showdown. Pass rush sucks, and indeed it does. I only subscribe to oh, it said that love Davenport. Oh, yeah, you can definitely remove your subscription. Davin Glass gotta go. He is gone. He's somewhere. He's not on the field. So love Davenport when he's in the game. Not much of a relationship there. Facts. Did I ever tell you that what DDI stands for? Yes. What did you say? Davenport definitely injured. Yep, there we go. Winston is the modern day Fitzpatrick. I would agree to a certain extent. Their D line might be better than ours. No, No. Is. Is. Okay? Is. All right? I just checked the standings and it doesn't show wins as being ugly. Facts. It doesn't show if wins are ugly, pretty. It doesn't show if wins are blowouts, if wins are squeak bys. It doesn't show any of that. It just shows dubs is dubs. What up though, Belinda Brown? JJ was on drugs that game. Yesterday JJ's stat line was what, 82 yards and 2 interceptions. Yeah, you get pissed if you lose to that guy for sure. Giants beat the Eagles and played the Broncos and Cheeseheads tough. It's a hard-earned W. Facts. CB Group got to step up versus Packers. Facts. Although the Packers have looked like cheeks on offense all year. On a good note, though, we win and Eagles win. We back in first. We win and the Eagles. Oh, okay. Yeah. If they beat when they beat the Chicago Bears. And look, the Chicago Bears, similar, but here's the thing. Here's why we look at the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers as frauds, because it's every week. It's every week. And at some point, the dam has to burst. At some point, you can't just like, okay, now I'm not saying either one of these teams is going to win the Super Bowl. But you looked at the Kansas City Chiefs last year, and the Kansas City Chiefs kept on winning these one-score, single-score games where it was just, crazy. They had like 11 one-score game wins. And now this year, they're not getting the wins like that. Right? It's always a 50-50 proposition, but when you are living on that line of the 50-50 proposition, okay, when you are living there, at the end of the game, where it comes down to the last drive every single week, that gets to be too much. Okay? That gets to be far too much. Yeah, I got it. Caleb ain't great. I'll tell you that much. Mm-hmm. Why is Derek mad at you? I hate having to depend on the Eagles to get back into first place. It's the cards we've been dealt. I'm with Derek. I don't want to hear about AQM anymore. No, don't want to. My solution, let Ahmed cook. See, and that's the situation we are in. Okay? What up, though, Jody Carruthers? That is the situation that we are in with Ahmed Hassani. Okay. Khalif is our wide receiver 3. He's more so our wide receiver 3 than Isaac Tesla. Listen, that's the situation that we're in. And that's why we're mad at Melvin. Because he's led everyone in this fan base, not everyone, a healthy chunk. Okay, here's a Twitter reaction that I had. Okay, I think I told you guys about the reaction, but I'm going to update you on another response that came through after I stopped checking. So there was a guy who was talking about, because once they re-signed Ahmed Hassani, is he available for this game? I forget which game it was. Maybe it was the Commanders game or something like that. Right? And I'm like, the dude just came back from a torn pectoral muscle. He's missed every ounce of developmental time that you could miss. Why do you believe that this dude is going to come in here and make an immediate impact? Right? So then the dude made up some cockamamie excuse like, "Oh no, it's because I didn't know the rules of IR." Yeah, okay, give me a freaking break, right? So then someone comes back later, a few days later, and is like, "Just let people be excited, damn." And I said, "Excited about what? Has he played? I, has he played?" This was my point. Like he got signed to the roster, to the practice squad. Why do you believe he's going to come in here and play as soon as he gets signed? That was my point, right? And then the other thing is, again, not just come in and play, but come in and just be dominant. Guys, I understand. He endeared himself to everybody by telling Dan Campbell that he would die for him on the field. I get that. But just having a something that you said doesn't mean that you are just going to be phenomenal. You know who didn't really say anything when he came in here? He got picked up at the airport by Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. His name is Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs was standing in the presence of his favorite running back of all time and had really nothing to say because he was starstruck. He didn't say much of anything. But you know what that man does when he steps on this football field. And we're going to go ahead and get into what Jahmyr Gibbs did because Jahmyr Gibbs had 264 all-purpose yards, and he set a record for any Lions offensive player all-purpose yards in a game. Now, before I get too far deep into that, I want to, because there's a lot of things that I want to cover today. I want to talk to y'all about Mike Kafka going for it on 4th down, and everybody's like, "Oh, he should have kicked." Look, guys, look. Situations are different, and this is something that people don't seem to understand because they harp upon things. Oh, he should have kicked. He should have done. Listen, if he kicks the field goal, one, you could have missed it. Okay, you're saying because it was a chip shot, it was gonna go in. Younghoe Koo is on the Giants because he was missing a lot of kicks for the Falcons, and they cut him. Okay, so that's one thing. You could have missed the kick. Number two, if you make the kick, guess what could happen? The Detroit Lions could return the kickoff for a touchdown. They could return the kickoff for minimal yards. They could return the kickoff for the standard now, which is 30, 35-yard line. They could have got a good return and been in your territory. You don't know how the game would play out. So everyone killing Mike Kafka, saying, he thought he was Dan Campbell, and thank you, he should have done such and such. We don't know how the game turns out. All we know is let's go for it. We're down inside of our own 5-yard line or the opponent's 5-yard line. And if we don't get it, they have to drive the field. Look at what Jared Goff and the offense were doing other than Jahmyr Gibbs the entire game. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had 13 targets again. Okay? And we're going to get into why that happened. All right? But we don't know how the game would have played out. So I'm kind of tired of hearing people saying, well, if he would have kicked the field goal, we don't know what would have happened. Okay? What we know what did happen. They're like, "Oh, if he would have kicked the field goal on that 4th and whatever it was, we wouldn't have just thrown the ball." If he would have kicked the field goal, why do we even think that 4th and whatever it was would have happened before Jake Bates kicked the 59-yard field goal? We don't know. Like everyone assumes that the exact same sequence of things would happen if something was done differently. This is why if you there's no such thing as time travel, okay? But this is why the theory of the butterfly effect exists. Because if you go back in time and you do something differently, you change something, well, it will have an effect on the outcome of the future, because the outcome that you actually had was based off of the set of circumstances that took place. If you have a different outcome, then moving forward, something will be different. If you go back in time and stop your parents from meeting, guess what? You won't be born. Yeah, it's like oftentimes people feel like, hey, I wish I had a rewind button in life because I made a poor choice, a poor decision to do something. And if I could have just gone back in time and changed it, then my life would have been different. Right? If you decide to rob a bank and you get caught and you go to prison for the rest of your life, well, had you not made the decision to rob the bank, you probably wouldn't go to prison for the rest of your life. Unless you were just, criminally inclined and you just did something else later in your life and you would have gone to prison for the rest of your life. So let's stop with the Mike Kafka should have done, should have done, should have done. Okay, we don't know how the game would have played out. I've seen a lot of fans. I've seen some shows, and it's just like it's silly that we're harping on what he should have done as if we know what the outcome would have been if the Lions needed a touchdown. Okay, now if somehow you got the Lions to start on their own 5 again, which I don't know how you would have done, unless it was just a penalty that happened, at the 10-yard line and it was half the distance to the goal, and then they started on the 5. That's okay. But things wouldn't have turned out the same way. All right, let me get to some of your comments because I know I will get too far behind with what I'm about to talk about. At this point, why not? I mean, let him cook, but I'm just I don't have excitement. It's a 6th-round draft pick at a position that we've needed to address for years, and Melvin hasn't addressed it, and it's just another band-aid to me. Like how everyone in the beginning of the year was like, "Oh, we ranked number 2 in sacks. Oh, I guess y'all were wrong about that." AQM, Tyler Lacey, Tyrus Wheat. Where have those guys been? Where have they been? AQM had the chance to sack Jameis Winston on a touchdown pass. And it turned into a touchdown pass because he didn't sack him. He had him in the grasp. So you won your one on one. You beat your man, and you get to the quarterback and can't finish. And then you can't finish in the worst way because he scores a touchdown. Okay? All right. So at this point, we're just plugging in guys. Alim McNeill rushed the passer from the edge. Did you see any sacks from him? Have you seen a sack at all? Since he's been doing it 2-3 games, have you seen a sack from Alim McNeill on the edge? No. You can stop the run with that lineup of 3 defensive tackles. Roy Lopez, DJ Reader, and Alim McNeill opposite of Hutch. So, yeah, that's why. We are craving for a DE rookie that hasn't played a single snap against NFL starters. We need to be curbed a little. Thank you. Thank you. This is all I'm saying. Is Kirby close to returning? According to Kirby, yes. But we'll see. I'm not excited about Ahmed. My point is that at this point, what do we have to lose? Oh, again, like I said, we don't have anything to lose, and he's a guy that you throw out there because you have to. And Marcus Davenport, a guy that you throw out there because you have to, and then he gets injured 2 games later. Whatever. But those are the options that you have. As you said, not excited. He's a project at best. He isn't going to help this team this season. And that's what we've thought. I'm so excited. So excited. for Tyrus Wheat to break out next game. Another Melvin Jim. This man don't miss. This mother effer don't miss. Zach, you forgot about Tyler Lacy as well. Facts. Surprise, surprise. No flags on the KC's game-winning drive. Yeah, well. Excited about a 6th-round rookie that missed 9 weeks. Just hope he can provide depth later in the season. Chill. Facts. Oh, you're so right. Imagine Tyler Lacy and Tyrus on the field at the same time. Unstoppable. There was some good players. Those guys are good players, and they're gonna come out and they're gonna help us. Really, they're gonna do a lot. They're not just Jags. They're good players, and we were happy to be able to get them. Because those guys, they like football. They play football. They play football real well. They do a lot of football plays, and they play football for a long time. So those guys are good players. They're gonna help us out. We was excited to get them, and they're gonna help us. They're gonna help us get to the quarterback. Yeah. All right, Ray Agnew, shout out. We good. We got Lacy on the edge. Facts. Brent, you know me from previous chats and know how I feel about the pass rush to AT. At this point, can Hutch's sister play D? Brent, for all we know, Ahmed is better than AQM when he gets healthy. Could be. Agree. You are a 2-win team's attempt coach, and you need to go for the dagger. Not only that, if they scored a TD and OT, they would have gone for 2 for the win, and I would agree there too. Facts. Them going for it is exactly what they were supposed to do, going up 6 and giving the Lions 3 minutes to score with the ball at more than likely at the 30-yard line is losing football. 4th down, he went for the win. Right. We have no passing to out routes. We lost that, giving away Tim Patrick. We're going to talk about that right now. We good. We got Davenport coming back. Okay, he's going to say it. He's going to say it, and he's going to be right until they're not. What? How do you blow on cereal? This guy here. All right. So let's get into it. Another thing that I have seen throughout this last day or two, maybe even for the last week or so, is that now Dan Campbell is bad at calling plays. If you haven't had confidence in this offense since Dan Campbell came in to call plays, I don't know what I can tell you. I don't know what you are watching. Here's the thing. Let me pull up the box score because I need to get very granular here. Hold 1 second. Detroit Lions, New York Giants box score. Okay. I want to see. I know the number, but I want to be sure. Okay. Jared Goff was 28 for 42, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Here's something that's going to blow your mind. Are you ready for this? Of Jared Goff's 28 completions, 16 of them were behind the line of scrimmage. Do I have a problem with the screens that Dan Campbell was running? No. You know why I don't have a problem with the screens that Dan Campbell was running? Because these are the type of screens that work. These are the type of screens, and I said this yesterday, that are well thought out, well developed, blocked right, and put together. And they can go for distance. They are not the smoke screen that Johnny Moe would call over and over and over again in situations that didn't make any sense. Now, other than the screen passes, here's the thing about play calling. And there's a lot of people, I like my chat because my chat is full of ball knowers and ball seers. Okay. But a lot of people out there, and if you're from another chat, welcome. Okay. And if you don't know football, you're looking at the play calling as though Amon-Ra St. Brown getting 13 more targets was in the play calling. No. Let me break this down to you. When you have more than one receiver on the football field, which is quite often, and you call a passing play, you have what's called options. Okay? You have what's called reads. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the first read. Okay? Oftentimes, Jared Goff doesn't come off of his first read. He does, but he doesn't. Right? And Jared Goff, he's a premeditated quarterback. What do I mean by that? When you call the play, you send the play in, he's already got an idea that he's going to throw the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Go back to the beginning of the game. If you watch from the beginning of the game on Fox, which was the broadcast, right? I don't know where else you would have watched it on. You couldn't have watched it on CBS. You couldn't have watched it on ESPN because it was broadcast by Fox. The very first series that the Detroit Lions had, Jonathan Vilma and Kenny Albert had this little run back of Jared Goff forcing the football to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And they showed the Brock Wright play. And I commented on this yesterday during the game that I didn't realize how actually bad it was, because watching on TV the previous week against the Eagles, you didn't see how bad that play was. The fact of the matter is, I told you that if Jared Goff had just looked to his right, he would have seen Brock Wright. He didn't actually have to look to his right because both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brock Wright were running in the same vicinity. If you saw Amon-Ra St. Brown in the back of the end zone, you should have seen Brock Wright in the front of the end zone. And I don't care about the pressure because Brock Wright was wide open. What happened was that Jared Goff predetermined that he was going to throw this football to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jared Goff, not even twice, more than twice, tried to fit the football in between two defenders to a covered Amon-Ra St. Brown, which actually worked, to a covered Jameson Williams, which didn't work. Predictable drop because, hey, I just threw a receiver into a sandwich. Jared Goff is who spreads the ball around. Dan Campbell doesn't spread the ball around. Dan Campbell puts you into positions with the plays he calls, and you must spread the football around. The fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown had 12 targets and two catches last week against the Eagles, and then comes back and gets 13 targets this game, and it worked out. 13 targets, 9 receptions, 150 yards, and a touchdown. But the fact that Jared Goff is refusing to get everyone involved is not on Dan Campbell. That is a quarterback with a predetermined target who drops back and throws the football. Jameson Williams, in 60 minutes, he ran 43 routes. He had 3 targets. Didn't catch a single one of them. Right? But actually, he did catch one. Sorry. He caught one of them. But Graham Glasgow was an illegal man downfield. Big play wiped off the board because of a silly penalty. So it's not the play calling. It's not the play caller. The final say of where that football goes, okay? Anybody that thinks Dan Campbell is telling him, okay, here's the play, and you better throw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, or we're going to bench you. That's not happening. Dan Campbell sends in the play. You go through your reads, you go through your progressions, and you find who's open. Whether Amon-Ra St. Brown is open or not, Jared Goff is throwing him the football. And it is both to the benefit and to the detriment of the football team. Yesterday happened to be to the benefit. Against the Eagles, it was to the detriment. But the play calling is far better than when Johnny Mo was there. It is the execution that we're currently having a problem with. But we did put up 34 points. So there's that. All right. What up, though? Speak easy. Let me get your comments in here right now. Easy says, "Don't you dare blame Jared Goff." I'm sorry, Easy. I had to. Goff is far too locked in on St. Brown. There was a play where Monty was wide open coming out of the backfield. I think some of this is Laporta going down. Again, I mean, if Laporta goes down, there's other options. You know? When in doubt, it was St. Brown or Laporta. And that's the problem. We've got so many weapons, but this season in particular, the narrative around Jameson Williams is that he has to get it way down the field. Jameson Williams has to be 95 yards down the field before you can throw him the football. He's got to be 117 yards down the field before you can throw him the football. Because if he's not 500 yards down the field, you can't throw it to him. You can't. You just can't. It's not possible. That's what Johnny Mo came in here with. Dan Campbell has been getting him the ball. So he's been putting him in advantageous situations. When Dan Campbell came in, the first game that he came in against the Commanders, Jameson Williams had 7 targets. Then against the Eagles, he had 6 targets. Then 3 yesterday against the Giants, 3. He ran the routes. He was available. But he had 3 targets. And again, that's not on Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell doesn't make the decision of where the ball comes out and whose hands it goes into. There are suggestive plays. Like if J-Mo is running a short slant against the flow of the defense, you want to get it to him because he's probably going to go out the back door and hit his head on the goalpost. That's just how it works. Rumor has it Amon-Ra St. Brown is baby daddy. What up, though, Sagittarian King? It all makes sense now. Right, it does. Goff is excellent with time, but way different once happy feet set in. He is becoming a premeditated stare-down QB this season. Facts. Okay, this guy. All right. So, chill out on the Dan Campbell, and let's see what Johnny Mo come back in here and throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 15 and turns into 4th and 17. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs. Here's the guy, okay, who's turning into a superstar right before your eyes. When he came into the league, I dubbed him the electrician. Okay, that was a nickname that he had for the first year or so, and then they started with this Sonic and Knuckles thing. But he is the electrician. He is Sonic. He is Agent Zero. He is all of those things and more. He is the perfect running back for the Detroit Lions. He is my favorite Detroit Lion running back in history after Barry Sanders, because there is no, I don't care what you do, you have to be an alien from outer space to surpass Barry Sanders in my eyes. You must be an alien from outer space. Jahmyr Gibbs put this team on his back, and he carried it to the tone of 264 all-purpose yards and set a record for Lions offensive players in a single game to have 264 all-purpose yards. Now, I don't know how it was a record. It must be Lions running backs because somewhere in there, I think Calvin Johnson had like a 300-yard game. Okay, don't quote me. I believe he did. But for Lions running backs, 264 all-purpose yards. He is now 3 touchdowns, 3 away from tying Barry Sanders' 47 scrimmage touchdowns before the age of 24. If Jahmyr Gibbs gets 1 touchdown per game, he will blow that out of the water for the rest of the way. If it's just 1 touchdown, he got 3 this game. And I called for him. I said he needs 2 more after he got the first one. Okay? This is a record that I would love to see him break. He is not Jamal Williams. He is not a goal line merchant. Okay? I don't even, you got to put an asterisk next to that one for, he broke Barry Sanders' record. It's an asterisk. It wasn't well deserved. And we know how he left Detroit. You know, it is what it is. But Jahmyr Gibbs over Bijan has been solidified. They're both phenomenal backs. I think they are going to be the Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry of the new, the next generation, right? So they need to pass the torch. Saquon had a fumble, which led to the Cowboys winning and completing their comeback. Derrick Henry ain't been right all season. This is probably Derrick Henry's worst season. It may be his last if he decides to retire. But I said he's always going to be the king until he ain't the king no more. So shout out Jahmyr Gibbs, man. The Electrician, Sonic, Agent Zero, all of those things. I mean, 69 yards and 49 yards. So we'll just round it up. A 50-yarder and a 70-yarder. The 70-yarder straight up the middle, out the gate, right, the first play of overtime. It was awesome. It was phenomenal. And I'm so mad that I couldn't have been on the call with the Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs. I like him. Jahmyr Gibbs. I couldn't be on that call. Because I had to step out. I had to take my son to school. He had exams. Had the game ended in regulation, I wouldn't have to do that, but it went to overtime. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs phenomenal. All right. What Easy got to say? What a crock of BS. Jahmyr wouldn't be anything without Goss handoffs. Facts. Easy. I'm sorry, I forgot. What we got now? Do you think we go out and get another OC next season? I mean, I don't know. Again, a lot of this, what we need is an offensive line. We need better communication up front. We need to replace Graham Glasgow. So we need some upgrades. If we get the upgrades on the offensive line, and then you can protect Goff so he stop with the happy feet and he can perform under pressure, which again, other quarterbacks perform under pressure. I mean, Goff wasn't terrible yesterday in the face of pressure. He did stare down. Who was that came through? I forget his name, but he came through untouched, beat Coyote really fast, and Goff just didn't have any answers. This is what I said about Goff needing a pass rush plan. He needs a pass rush plan. What to do when the pass rush gets to me? Okay? I mean, he could have thrown that one away. He could have done something, but he just stared it down and took the sack. He ate it. Um, so I really believe that Dan Campbell is fine. Unless you can get someone that's high caliber and proven to be able to call plays, I'd rather just go with Dan. You know what I mean? St. Brown 13 targets, Gibbs 12, Tesla 1 catch. Right. If we don't, then MCDC is going to regret it. I don't know why he would regret it. I don't know. I guess you believe that Dan Campbell's play calling isn't effective. And as I said, I would argue the exact opposite. It's the execution. It is not the play calling. When it was the guys, remember, when it was the play calling, I told you it was the play calling. When it was Johnny Moe and he was trash, I told you Johnny Moe is trash. I told you they need to get someone else. Okay? They need to get him out of there. Now, Mike McDaniels, in theory, should be available in the offseason. If he's available, you go, you pay him, you back up the Brinks truck, and you say, "Here, come run this offense in Detroit." Again, Dan Campbell knows how he likes it to be called. He knows how he wants it to be called. So if you're gonna get a guy that's kind of different from him, you end up with a Johnny Moe type. Nah, we need to just go ahead and keep Dan Campbell calling plays. Tesla 0 catches. Yeah, 0 catches and 2 draft picks wasted. So the thing about Monty is that was a Johnny Moe thing because Monty and Gibbs were almost 50-50 last year. And then Johnny Moe came in and Monty was getting like two carries per game. I really think that there's 2 different things at play now. So yesterday, Jahmyr Gibbs had the hot hand. Monty is a much more between the tackles runner. If you're not getting holes open between the tackles effectively, then he's got to deal with too many guys. Now he's a bruiser, but you don't want him having to break 3 tackles before he gets through the line of scrimmage. So it boils down to the offensive line. I don't know that they are protecting properly or opening the proper holes for Monty to flourish. I just feel like they're not. Bijan, if used like CMC fully unlocked, would be nasty too. And he is used like that in Atlanta. He does everything. He catches balls out of the backfield, pause. He does it all. He's an all-around back. And that's why I said he is nasty. It's not that he would be nasty. He already is. Is Gibbs better than Taylor? Jonathan Taylor. Here's the question that I would ask you. You see the huge runs that Jonathan Taylor breaks off. Jahmyr Gibbs is 300 yards behind him, and he's got 40, 50 less touches. It's the same argument I used with Bijan in their rookie seasons. Bijan had, I don't know, 100 more yards than Gibbs or something like that, and Gibbs had 50 less touches. If they're opening those types of holes for Gibbs that they're opening for Taylor, I think Taylor has 1,600 yards at this point. I think Gibbs has nearly 2,000 already if he's running behind that. You know what I mean? So, yes. St. Brown, 9 reception, Gibbs, 11. Facts. Goff reacts fast, piss down his leg when he sees pressure. Just the wrong reaction. Facts. Am I the only one that doesn't care how we win as long as we win? Nope, you missed the beginning of the show. and you missed the thumbnails, which says 0 apologies given. We're not apologizing for wins here. But now finally, the last thing we need to get to is the defense. All right. We know the defense can't have a masterclass every single game. The Lions defense hasn't been that type of defense. But the Lions defense had enough master classes and enough A games and A- games and B+ games that we were just about top 10 in the league in every category. What happened against the New York Giants was the secondary was getting cooked. I don't know why you wouldn't switch DJ Reed to Wan'Dale Robinson and you just left him over on Isaiah Hodgins. Isaiah Hodgins had like 3 targets. I feel like DJ Reed was wasted. Maybe the thing was, okay, well, we don't want to switch him off because we don't want him running around like that and maybe aggravating his hamstring. I don't know what it was. But I feel like we should have switched up. DJ Reed should have traveled with Wan'Dale Robinson. We also, on that first play, the trick play, Thomas Harper got caught looking in the backfield and let Wan'Dale Robinson run right past him. Listen, safeties. If you are looking in the backfield, and while you're looking in the backfield, you think it's a run play? If the wide receiver runs right by you and doesn't touch you, it's not a run play. Because if it's a run play, he's going to be blocking you. So that's a big, indication that something fishy is going on. You see the running back get the toss or the handoff or what have you, and then you see your man run right by you. You might want to cover that guy. So as Amik Robertson said, playing with bad eyes. The defense was playing with bad eyes. Again, I don't care that they gave up, 366 yards because that was the total that Jameis Winston had. I don't care that they gave up 366 yards to Jameis Winston because Jameis Winston's not a good quarterback. No, Jameis Winston is an excellent quarterback. He's got a problem with turnovers if you play him too much. But if you play him in the right amount of games at the right amount of time, he's putting up numbers. Okay? He's a starting caliber quarterback. He can start in front of a lot of guys on other teams. Right? I mean, look at the Raiders. I don't know. They may rather have Jameis Winston than Geno Smith right now. That's just one I'm naming. My problem is the fact that they gave up those yards, not who they gave it up to. There wasn't a whole lot of discipline. Wan'Dale Robinson was running wide open through the defense. I mean, he had damn near 200 yards if he didn't have 200 yards. Let me see how many yards he had because he is going to be your game leader in receiving. Wan'Dale Robinson had 156 yards, 9 receptions and a touchdown. 156 yards on 9 receptions. Okay? Amon-Ra St. Brown had 149 yards on 9 receptions. Okay, and also 1 TD. Okay. So we wouldn't cover him. We couldn't cover him. There were some nice plays that were made on the defensive side of the football that prevented certain things from happening. Jameis Winston with the amazing touchdown catch and run. That was ridiculously frustrating to watch. But now that we won, we can talk about how amazing it was. Um, there was one play where they pointed out. I think it was the play where I think Tracy went for like 30 yards, and they pointed out that Jack Campbell was supposed to have him in man coverage, and he got washed out. Um, I don't know if the defense was saving it for the Packers. Okay, the pass rush. I said we'd talk about the pass rush. We're going to talk about the pass rush. Where is it? Where is it? I just want to know. Has anybody seen it? Detroit Lions pass rush is on a milk carton right now. Has anybody seen this pass rush? If you've seen this pass rush, please call 1-800 Detroit Lions and let them know where it is, where it can be found. I'm sorry, but there's a certain guy, and Easy knows the guy, who talks about sustained success, and this team wants to win for a decade and blah, 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 blah. That type of talk is like taking a starving person and giving him finger food. And not like a platter full of finger food. Oh no. Like a tea saucer full of finger food. He's starving, and you gave him a tea saucer full of finger food. He wants the whole platter. That's what the Detroit Lions fans want. We don't give a damn. I don't care, bro. Listen to me. And this is, I think I speak for a lot of fans. No one cares about sustained success. I want to see a Super Bowl. I have been rooting for this team since I could talk. I am 43 years old. There are people who have been rooting for the team. They're 65, 70. Brother, we don't care nothing about no decade of sustained success. We won a Super Bowl. So at some point, we have to take charge and we have to take risks. We're taking risks on dumb-ish. We're taking risks on, hey, let me get a wide receiver in the third round and give up 2 third-round picks to boot, so that when the trade deadline comes, I don't have any pieces to play. I just don't have any pieces because I've wasted them on a third round wide receiver. I've wasted them on a project, Broderick Martin, who probably wasn't going to be drafted. And I traded third round picks to move up to get him. I traded third round picks to move up to get Manu, who is trash. But you expected him to be trash because he went to the University of British Columbia or some ish like that. Okay? He didn't play football on American soil. His college tape looks like high school. And you traded third round picks to get him in the fourth round. Meanwhile, you can't get to the passer. Jameis Winston had 3.5 seconds to throw. That's an eternity. That's an eternity. You can set your feet, scan the field, and let it rip. You think Jared Goff wishes he had 3.5 seconds to throw the football? Absolutely. I mean, he ain't gonna do nothing but throw it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but still, absolutely. Melvin this offseason's got to make some changes, man. You've got to make some changes. You got to bring in some free agents. I know Dan Campbell says the same thing, and I appreciate Dan Campbell for it. And I know his guys appreciate him for it. We got the right guys. I trust in our guys, man. I believe in our guys. I really do. I'm sorry, though, coach. Some of your guys ain't it. Tyler Lacey, Tyrus Wheat, Marcus Davenport, they ain't it. Aleem McNeil at defensive end ain't it. He's a defensive tackle. Hey, bruh, get you a linebacker that's a little bit on the heavier side that still runs a 4.5, and he's sitting on his couch, and just have him blitz. That's his job, right? Get him on the edge and have him rush the passer. Do something, because what you're doing is not working. Has AQM moved off of 6 sacks yet? I mean, when you find a guy off their couch, it's no disrespect to the guy, but the guy was on his couch for a reason. And when you find him and you give him a chance and he overachieves, he is overachieving. And generally, what happens with overachieving is that people don't overachieve for the entire time, right? He's not overachieved for the entire season, because then that wouldn't be called overachieving. It would be called achieving. They called it the Lynn Sanity Run because it was insanity how Jeremy Lin was putting in all of this work, scoring all these points, dropping 50 a night, and so on and so on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now it was very short-lived. He was out of the league very quickly in terms of basketball terms, right? It's an anomaly. It's not the norm. It's an exception to the rule. It's not the rule. So we need to do better at acquiring a pass rush, bro. It can't. It's not Hutch, bro. It's not Hutch. It can't be Hutch all the time, because you see that the proliferation of Hutch getting chipped by 2-3 guys help out there. It keeps going. It hasn't stopped. Nobody's stopping that. Everyone continues to do that. That's what they're gonna do, because you don't have anyone else that they're afraid of. The Giants have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter. Now, Abdul Carter is underachieving, but he's also a rookie. He's also a rookie, right? He's been in and out of the starting lineup. He's not as good as Hutch was as a rookie. He was supposed to be. I mean, he came into the New York Giants organization asking them to unretire numbers, which is crazy. As a rookie, it's crazy. The Packers did it for Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons is like, what, the 5th player in history, or the 10th player or whatever to have 10 plus sacks in his first 5 seasons. That's why they unretired Curly Lambeau's number for Micah Parsons, because he's proven. Asking for that stuff is craziness. Just like I killed Caleb Williams for asking for equity in the Bears as a rookie who hasn't played a snap yet. Abdul Carter, you were a rookie. You hadn't played a snap yet. You got a half a sack this season. You got a half a sack in 12 games. Okay. Solidify yourself first in this league, and then ask him to unretire numbers. I think he was it Lawrence Taylor? I think it was Lawrence Taylor's number. Crazy. Crazy. But the point is, they invested in their defensive line. They took Abdul Carter, number 3 overall, instead of a quarterback. Then they traded up to get their quarterback at the bottom of the first. I'm just saying, we got to do better. We got to do better. The reason that everyone looks good on the Giants defense is because of their front line. And their front line hasn't done great, but isn't Brian Burns like tied for the lead in sacks this season? Him and Myles Garrett? Okay. That is what that is. All right, let me get to y'all's comments. Yep, I know. I like how we played Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, Time Machine, must have worked. What is this, 2015? TA does make the secondary better, get him up to speed with Reed. I have no worries. He does. A lot of y'all thought he didn't, but y'all saw what took place with him out. Big said no pass rush at all. I know a couple Russians I can send your way. We played a lot more man coverage this game. Not saying that we don't run a lot of man coverage, but Shep was more willing to run zone. Didn't see much zone. And Wandell was running wild. Say that 3 times fast. We got to acknowledge the fact our team has great players, but one missing piece is the decisive factor. Eagles seem worse this year because of one small thing. We ain't the Browns. We just missing one thing. Yeah, and we've said that. We've been saying that all year here. Okay. The Motor City Cats, Lions Syndicate, everything King. A lot of people have been saying you need a pass rush. You need that piece opposite of Hutch. Stop filling it in with just guys. Stop filling it in with Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil's a defensive tackle. You think, he's our best interior pass rusher. Let's put him on the edge. No, he's your best interior pass rusher. Don't put him on the edge. He's not rushing the passer from the edge. Sorry, he's just not. It's not working. Rushing that QB. Damn, bro. You thought I was 30? Yeah, I get that a lot. It don't crack. Only missing the click with the grit. Motor City Diddy. Goff doesn't throw to anybody but Brown tunnel vision. Facts. How do we officially suck after winning? That's crazy. That is crazy. I agree. Brad Holmes is a bit lackey with a number of 3rd round draft picks reaching to the sum of like 6 3rd rounders. Right. All right. You already know what time it is. We are overdue, but it's mailbag. What you want to do? What you want to do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snicks, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. We'll take a few today because I got to roll out. Got some things I got to take care of. Will not be here tomorrow. Got the court thing that I got to do. It's still lingering. Just trying to get him to throw it out. All right. Shanahan and Belichick loved all the 3rd rounders they could get. Right. Because they can help your team. What the frick? Oh. Yeah, they can help your team. I mean, throwing them away for projects is crazy. Generally someone will draft a project in the 6th round or the 7th round. Really, really, those are the project rounds, right? 6th and 7th, you really don't expect anything from them. So that's why they're the project rounds. All right. If we have no mailbag questions, I will go ahead and stab out. Damn. Whew. um all you say is mailbag and you ask a question. So you can start off with MB and then ask your question. That's it. Or mailbag and then ask your question. It's just a question that you ask specifically. All right, mailbag. So to clarify, I like Dan calling the plays. I don't want my head coach to have to call plays. I mean, it really is the wave, right? You got Andy Reid, you got Sean McVay, you got Kyle Shanahan. The best offensive minded coaches call plays. And um Dan Campbell gets this rap as a meathead and all this other stuff, but at the same time, you know, he's not. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Mailbag, will the Lions do what we did last year on Thanksgiving? What did we do last year on Thanksgiving? Who did we even play? If the answer is lose, then my answer is no. We got to figure out a way to beat the Packers, bro. We can't have them sweep us. Oh, last year, yeah, we won because we swept the division last year. Yeah, so we'll do that. MC played zero edge against the Giants. Who's MC? I'm drawing a blank. Mailbag, you would trading up to draft a good ass kid out of college or trading during the season for someone already in the league? I mean, it depends on who the person is. If you trade up to get him, okay, I'll put it this way, especially with the situation that we have where everyone is freaking out about the salary cap and they don't know how we're going to get all these people under the salary cap, which I know exactly how you are. But with that being said, I would say yes, trade up for someone coming out of the draft, because then you'll have them under control for 4 or 5 years on a rookie deal. So yeah, especially now when you're talking about your Super Bowl window is now. Yep, trade up in the draft. Um, what is our first 3 rounds of draft picks? Center, tackle, and edge. Hope so. LOL. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Blessing with tomorrow, bro. I appreciate you, man. Mailbag, do you think Lions have what it takes right now to represent NFC in Super Bowl? No, I don't. This offense is too inconsistent. Jared Goff, he's just got to get better at handling pressure. Now, if he handles pressure better down the stretch, these last 6 games, then once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. But currently, what I'm looking at right now today, I would tell you no. All right. That's right. My bad. We did win barely the Bears. Yeah, we beat everybody. I'm trying to win right now. Then yeah, we trade up in the draft. Best free agent center and draft the best center available. Weakest position. If you're gonna get the best free agent center, it depends on who that is. And then if you're drafting the best center available, that means you want to use a first round pick. Um, so I don't know 100% if you should do that. Um, you might be able to use your first round pick on a guard or a tackle, especially if it's a left tackle, because Taylor Decker, his body is telling him he's on his way out. Mailbag, you rather win a bowl now and go 0-11 next year, or be the Bills Steelers and be above average? But no. No, win the Super Bowl now and suffer the consequences next year. I don't care, because you can still tell everybody to kiss the rings. Our offense is Gibbs and Amon Ra. That's it, and that needs to be changed. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Mailbag, is it time to have that QB conversation? I know we are stuck with Goff for 3 more seasons. The QB conversation it's a very short conversation. Who are you getting? Unless you're trying to position yourself to be able to trade up and give up multiple firsts to move up in the draft and grab a guy, but they generally don't want to do that, because unless unless you're making the trade with a non-QB needy team. But you're gonna have to, especially with our situation, you're gonna have to give up multiple firsts. It's gonna have to be 2 or 3, right? If we're expecting to be in the playoffs and we're expecting to have a long run or whatever, if you're in the playoffs, if you're in the final 4, right, then you're picking at best 28th. I'm sorry, at best 32nd, because you know what I mean. At best 32nd, at worst 28th. So you know, I don't know. Happier with Goff than I was with Stafford. Couldn't wait for Stafford to leave. Um, I am not a Stafford fan at all. But if Stafford was playing this way that he's playing in LA, in Detroit, then I don't think we ever would have got rid of him. I don't think we would have granted him the trade. You know? Oh, McNeil. Okay. Playoffs. Playoffs. I just hope we can win a game, said in a Jim Mora voice. Yes, facts. All right. This will be the last one, and then I gotta stab out. So, mailbag, has there ever been a team that the fans hated and thought was terrible, and they still won the bowl? Like midseason, everybody doubted them, but they pulled through. Yeah, the Chiefs. Everyone doubted them the year before. Now everyone doubted them last year as well, because they were like, "Oh, those those one possession wins are fraudulent," and then we see what happened when they got to face the Eagles. Um, there have been teams that have. I think when the Packers won um, last time with Aaron, they kind of stumbled into the playoffs and they went on the road to win all the games, and then they won in the Super Bowl. So yeah, there have been teams like that. But my biggest worry right now is Jared Goff's ability or lack thereof to handle pressure. If he could handle pressure better, then we wouldn't be having this conversation, really. Um, they do have the refs, but you know, the Eagles last season, remember that they wanted to fire the coach at the beginning of the season? Yes, that is facts as well. I went with the Chiefs. Both of the teams, both of the teams last season. No one was bought in, and then the Eagles came and smashed the Chiefs. All right, y'all. Appreciate everyone for coming through, stopping by, hanging out. If you are not a subscriber of the Motor City Cats podcast on YouTube, please make sure you go on over there right now, because this show is about to be over with, and subscribe to the Motor City Cats. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines news pragmatic. Remember, I will not be here tomorrow. Actually, it okay. Well, I could actually, I could because I think the court thing is at 9 in the morning, and then I come here at 11:15. So it's possible. Um, I'll keep y'all up to date. All right. And we are out. Peace.